Season 1 of What If has come to a close, so let's talk about the finale. Hi, my name is Sean, and I love to talk about movies and TV way too much. With that in mind, go ahead and join me down below in the comments section. Let me know, what did you think about the final episode of Season 1 of What If, as well as the season as a whole. As this is a spoiler review, feel free to spoil away down below, and let's get started. And as I'd hoped, Season 1 closed out with a bang. Last week's episode set up this great cliffhanger where Ultron won, got the Infinity Stones, and was in the process of conquering the multiverse, so the Watcher has to go to evil Doctor Strange to ask for help, teasing this massive team-up of the characters from the previous episodes of What If coming to save the day, and that's what this episode delivered. All throughout my reviews, I've discussed how I kind of liked the little cliffhangers at the end, teasing more to come and the further adventures for these characters, but I was also hoping we'd get to see more of them, and my assumption was that it would be the follow-up to these kind of plot lines at the cliffhangers. But this is almost the more fun finale that I wasn't expecting, which is the team-up of the What Ifs, and, or as they're referred to in the episode, Guardians of the Multiverse. That just, how do you end a season and really do it with a bang for this type of show? And I think, especially with animation, there's not really an excuse not to end with something massive in scope, scale, size, and spectacle, and that's what they did. They did their own little Avengers event for the What If show, and it put a big, gigantic grin on my face. And, you know, it kicks off immediately with everyone being kind of recruited from scenarios that make sense as follow-ups to where they were before. Some of them a little while down the line, like with Captain Carter, suddenly she's in Captain America the Winter Soldier. And in the case of, like, the T'Challa, seems like it kind of picks up not terribly detached from where that episode ended, with Ego showing up at the Dairy Queen. And we're back at the Dairy Queen, and Star-Lord has to swoop in to try and save Peter Jason Quill. But then everyone gets recruited, very quickly get told what they need to do, the mission that they're on, and then 15-20 minutes of antics trying to defeat Ultron. And I just thought it's exactly what it needed. You don't need like a complex plot at this point in time, because it's a two-parter, and so between the two episodes you get a lot of the setup in the part one of what's going on, and then this is just intended to be the showdown, the payoff of the two-part series, as well as the season as a whole, of someone like Party Thor getting to be the hero that's still kind of a moron. Characters like Doctor Strange, who went down a very dark path in pursuit of what he wanted, but at his core, it's not that he was ever actually... He was always driven by something good, wanting to save someone. He wasn't driven by evil or malice. He just didn't believe all the warnings that people gave him, and he didn't want anyone to stop him. So when given the opportunity to be the hero again, he still has the hero inside of him. A bunch of monsters too, but the hero's still there. And so then you get this ultra-powerful Doctor Strange stepping in to battle this ultra-powerful Ultron with a bunch of heroes, and I'm playing with things when I should be focusing on talking to you. And I thought it was a much better finale to the season than I was kind of expecting, because it was such an anthology series, and then they really did get to the finale and do a team-up episode. So I don't feel like there's a ton to dissect here, because it's fairly straightforward. Team gets together, has a battle, and then the stones are broken up and they go back to their universes. Maybe, I guess, a couple things to touch on in here. First off, love the moment where Thor throws his hammer and Doctor Strange multiplies it, so there's just hammers just smashing Ultron, or Mjolnir smashing Ultron from a bunch of different directions. That was a great little touch there. And then as you get to the end of it, that they didn't suddenly try and make Killmonger's worldview change. Whereas, like, Doctor Strange learned from his mistakes. Doctor Strange saw ultimate power, pursued ultimate power for a goal, and the end result was destruction. Therefore, he knows the tragedy of trying to use these cosmic powers for personal gain. Killmonger doesn't know that. Who's Killmonger? Killmonger is someone that sees incredible injustice in the world and therefore seeks any power he can find to correct it and make the people pay that were responsible for it. In his own mind, he's the hero of his own story, but he hasn't learned the danger of what he's doing, whereas Doctor Strange has. So we get to this side of this, and he wants to get that armor for himself to try and fix their world using the power of the Infinity Stones. And then Zola, as this AI that's trying to stop Ultron, isn't suddenly a good AI. Zola's not suddenly a good guy, so you wouldn't think he would have the best intentions or the best self-control. So you get to the end of it, and you start to realize that there were people on the teams and pieces that really were these dangerous factors. And at the same time, you get that redemptive arc for Doctor Strange, that despite destroying an entire universe, the hero's still there, and therefore uses his power to create a pocket universe with the stones separated from the body, and is now the protector of the pocket universe with some very dangerous figures inside of it. It's just a nice little way to close it out and give an arc to a character and redemption to someone that did something horrible for, in theory, good reasons. Other nice, you get a cliffhanger on this one where it does a mid-credit scene that's the sequence is from Captain America the Winter Soldier, and the big reveal is that frozen inside of the ship at the beginning of Captain America the Winter Soldier, this time instead, is Steve Rogers inside of the tech suit, with I suppose the implication being that perhaps he's been turned into that universe's version of the Winter Soldier. That's interesting. That's fun. That'd be a nice one to see how that plays out, if that's where they're going with that, if they're going to show us where that's headed. But just in general, I just thought it was a solid way to end the season. And with the next to last episode, two of the best of the whole season. Great payoff, tying things together, giving an arc to things that pays it off, so that some of these stories, they don't just feel like, while it is an anthology series, it doesn't mean that they're not tied together. It doesn't mean that there aren't consequences, that it can't be pulled together, and thus giving the show much more urgency and stakes in regards to the MCU multiverse as a whole. We have a few problems here, so I want to talk about the bad for just a little bit. And the big problem here is that I think the MCU's really got themselves in trouble with their rules for the multiverse, how Infinity Stones work, and for whatever reason in Loki, at the TVA, we got a drawer full of Infinity Stones to do nothing. And then here we have Ultron jumping through the multiverse, ultra powerful, and then when they get him down and use the Infinity Stone Crusher, it doesn't work because it's from a different universe. I don't think there's a way that they can talk themselves around the inconsistent logic of all of that. They've done some interviews where they've tried to explain why Ultron is able to use his Infinity Stones wherever he goes, but then, I mean, I don't think that there's a consistent way that doesn't feel like you're cheating a lot to see what we saw in Loki and then have what they said in this episode combined with what Ultron is doing and have any sort of consistent set of rules on that. It just doesn't flow. There's too many, like, wait a minute, you're rewriting the rules based off what you need to have happen in a given moment. Because even if the argument was the Infinity Stones don't work at the TVA, okay, I think that does make a lot of sense. Something detached from reality has its own set of rules. But Loki doesn't grab any of these things and throw them in his pocket and try them out. Or anything. Like, it seems like if you could take them somewhere else, then you would. They didn't do that. And then Ultron's in multiple different universes using his, and for some reason he's okay to do that. And I think in their quotes they said something about him smashing through the multiverse, and so it's become this multiverse mush because of the way he did what he did. Okay, maybe I can stand by that he still has powers because he smashed through. But then I'm not sure how that ties into her Infinity Stone smasher not working, besides they just needed the rules to play a little different. And then I guess the final one on here, and I don't know if this is kind of the conceit that you have when you do something like this, but you start going like, of all the people and all the multiverse for the watcher to grab, feels an awful lot like you just grabbed the characters from the previous episodes because we wanted to see them again, and throw in some people in that someone we didn't get to see so much. It didn't really feel all that much like who would actually be all of the best in the galaxy or in all the multiverse. And even things like, if you can do a little trick where T'Challa goes up there and grabs one Infinity Stone, could he not do that 2 times? Could he not grab 3 of them? There's a few things in the logic of the episode that you kind of immediately go, well, if he could do that, why doesn't he just do this? Is it really that easy? Like, I get he's a great thief guy, but I'm not just sure that picking an Infinity Stone is not the same thing as picking a pocket. I'm pretty sure it's like solid in there. And so it just feels like they had to do some things to make the story work, to make the victory possible. They had to nerf down a very powerful Ultron, and cheat a few moments, change the rules a little bit. And when you're saying it's canon, when you're saying it ties into everything else, and you're trying to tell such wild, wacky, and different stories with such powerful villains, you really start getting into trouble with your rules. And I think you're seeing that here. And I think that is a bit of a red flag for future MCU of, okay, you're going multiverse, there's a lot of danger that comes with that, of trying to not constantly rewrite your rules for the sake of getting out of these nasty situations and stuff like that. So we shall see. I am concerned about all of this. But at the same time, I love the episode. I thought it was a great send-off. Great way to close things out. Great way to tie things together. It's what I wanted it to be. It delivered. And as of like 2-3 weeks back, I didn't think we'd get something this cool. And then last week teased they were going to deliver something cool. And they did. And if you followed along with my other Marvel Disney Plus reviews, you know most of these seasons I've been a little bit disappointed with the finales, and I thought this one actually delivered what was promised, and had to cheat some rules a little bit to get there. But besides that, just a lot of fun to actually get to see a slick Disney Marvel produced piece of animation that was a story of this scope and size. Really cool. So I really dug it. Let me know what you thought down below in the comment section. Come back in a couple days. I'm going to rank all the episodes of Season 1. Thank you so much for watching, and keep talking movies too much.